Shalom Aleichem. This video is intended for an audience with some background in Kabbalah and hopefully some Chassidus. So I was wanting to originally do something on the Zohar, Parshas Lech Lecha, but I decided to do something otherwise. There's a mimer, a discourse from the 6th Lubavitch Rebbe called Basi Legani. Basi Legani means I come into my garden. It was the last mimer he published, and it was talking about the mission of every Jew, and we're going to learn the first chapter of that mimer, and then we're going to learn the first chapter of the Rebbe's Basi Legani, which was his first mimer he put out when he became Rebbe, our Rebbe, the 7th Rebbe, Rabbeinu Menachem Mendel Schneerson, as people call him, except Lubavitch Chassidim, we call him the Rebbe. He amplified his father-in-law's mimer. So we're really, the goal tonight is to learn what Iker Shechina is. And that's it. So, instead of giving any fancy introductions, I'm going to get to this. Starts out with a pasuk from Shir HaShirim 5:1. Basi Legani achoisi kalav is Basi Legani achoisi kala. I come to my garden, my sister, my bride. And it says in the Midrash Rabbah, Legan ein ksiv kan ela Legani. Legan, to the garden, is not said, it's not written, rather Legani, to my garden. And this implies Legnuni, my bridal chamber, Lamakum shaya yikar bat chila, in the place where my essence was first revealed. The Iker Shechina b'tachtonim haisa, that in the beginning, that the essence of the Shechina was apparent in the lower worlds. But due to the sin of the tree of knowledge of the Eitz Hada'as, the Shechina withdrew from the earth and rose to the heavens. In this, the Hebrew is not Shamayim, it's Rakia. But that because of the sin of Cain ve'Enosh, that the Shechina was withdrawn from the first heaven to the second and third and so on and so forth. And afterwards, the generation of the flood, the Shechina was withdrawn from the third heaven to the fourth. And it says, like it says in the Midrash Rabbah, on the pasuk, and the voice of Havaya, of God was heard, or not the voice, the sound of God walking in the garden was heard. Amar Rabbi Abba Mahalech ein kasiv kan ela mishalech. Rabbi Abba says, Mahalech is not written, but Mishalech. That the term Mahalech is not used, rather Mishalech, and it suggests that the Shechina, they heard the Shechina, Kafitz v'azil, Kafitz v'azil. He was jumping and going. Pew, 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 pew. Sounds like what was it, Mario? Oh man, what game was it? Where you go up a thing where it's too small and you had to get somewhere so you could. Anyways. And afterwards there arose 7 tzaddikim that brought the Shechina down to below. Avraham, he merited to bring the Shechina down from the 6th heaven to the 7th to the 6th. Yitzchak mevav lahei, and Yitzchak brought it from 6 to 5. Ad ki Maisha hashvi v'chol hashviin chavivin hayridu l'mat v'aretz. And Maisha, he brought the Shechina, who was the 7th, because the principle that is said in Vayikra Rabbah that kol hashviin chavivin, that all 7s are precious. Hayridu l'mat v'aretz. He brought the Shechina down to the Aretz. Okay. Now we're going to jump to the Rebbe's Maimer. Just to review here. The previous Rebbe, he brings up a pasuk from Shir HaShirim, Basi Legani achoisi kala. I come into my garden, my sister, my bride. This implies that Originally, the Shekhinah was revealed down here in this lowly world, and because of sin, it jumped from world to heaven to heaven to heaven. It withdrew. And there arose 7 Tzaddikim, which brought the Shekhinah down to this lower world, and Moshe Rabbeinu at Matan Torah, he brought the Shekhinah down fully because Kol HaShevin Chavivim, because all 7s are precious. Okay. Now we're going to get real. I got a few preparations to make. I hope I wasn't too fast. I didn't realize that I was needing to cut off that short, actually. I thought I was going to do the whole chapter, then I realized, wait. It's not going to be like that. Okay. But what matters is the summary. Now we're going to look at the Rebbe's basi Legani. This is where it gets real. So forgive me, I don't have an English translation to supplement in case I'm wrong. Although you can find them online. Okay. The Rebbe's Maimer basi Legani starts out like this. Kasav, Kedushas Kavod, Much Admor. It's written by my father-in-law. He wrote this in the Maimer on the day of his withdrawal. We call it his Stalkus. The day of his passing. Yud Shvat. Tavshin Yud. Wait. I forgot the date already. Okay, anyways. Yud Shvat. Fine. I think it was Tavshin Yud. Yeah, it was Tavshin Yud, sorry. Every Lubavitcher should know that date. Starts out the same way. Basi Legani Kala. I come into my garden, my sister, my bride. It's written in the Midrash Rabbah that Lagan, to the garden is not written. Rather, to my garden. This implies Lagnuni, the bridal chamber. In the place where my essence was revealed. The Iker Shechina was in this lower world. Iker means essence. The main part, which is the essence. Until here it is said. And we gotta understand the Lashon, the term Iker Shechina. Hine, the Perish Shechina, Mevar Kavod Kedushas Admar Zakin. So we're going to learn what this Lashon of Iker Shechina is from the explanation of the Alter Rebbe, the author of Tanya. Shenikah Shechina, it's called the Iker Shechina. Ayin Sham, see there, Shesheichnas Umislavshes. It dwells and encloses. The Lashon, from the Lashon, V'shechanti v'soicham, right? It says they will make for me a mikdash, v'asali mikdash, v'shechanti v'soicham, and I will dwell within them. Shehu, Reshis, this is the beginning. He's Galus or Ein Sof. This is the beginning of the revelation of the light of Ein Sof. Hine, Masha Kasuv, Shereshis, he's Galus or Ein Sof, Nikra, B'Shem Shechina. So, it is written that the beginning of the revelation of our Ein Sof, this is called the Shechina. Muvan Mizeh, and understood from this, She'inyan Shechina, that the Inyan of Shechina whom, L'mayla me'atzilus gamkein. So, that the Inyan of Shechina, it transcends above the world of Atzilus. Gam, so too. This is the light that preceded the tzimtzum, preceded the contractions. Shahare Reishis Hahisgalusu Ba'er Ein Sof Shlifnei HaTzimtzum. This is the beginning of the revelation of the light of Ein Sof that preceded the tzimtzum. That's the Alter Rebbe's discussion on Shechina in Tanya, chapter 51 and 41 and 52. Now, the Rebbe is going to do something unlike any of the previous Chabad Rebbeim. All the previous Chabad Rebbeim, their Chasidus explain the Chasidus of the Baal Tanya, the Alter Rebbe, who we just quoted. The Rebbe is going to quote to all of the Rebbeim up to him, and then he'll give his Chiddush. Chmosh Chasuf, Kedushas Kavod Adneinu Marenu Verbeinu MC, Mites the Middle Rebbe. He's the second Rebbe of Chabad. Ki Ha'eres Hakav Bechut Legave Atzmius Ein Sof Nikure B'Shem Shechina. That the illumination of the Kav and the Chut. What is the Kav and Chut? You know what it is. It is that band of light that illuminated in relation to the essence of our Ein Sof, and this is what is called Shechina. Ki inyan Shechina hu b'chol makom lefi inyano. That the inyan of Shechina is in every place, in every place. 1 second. Lefi inenu. Let me check this out real quick to make sure I got this translation right. Oh, I found an English translation. Awesome. I didn't realize I was going to get stuck. Forgive me. Okay. The luminescence of the Kav and the Chut, which is the narrow band of divine illumination that is shown forth following the Tzimtzum, in relation to the essence of Ein Sof, is termed Shechina. Oh, Lefi Inyana, following this, okay. Legave Atzilus Hine HaMalchus, in relation to the world of Atzilus, it is Malchus. Malchus means kingship or sovereignty. Nikre b'Shem Shechina. This is called Shechina. V'gam b'zeh, and also from this, Masha Malchus da'atzilus Nikre Shechina. We say that Malchus is the term Shechina. Now, the Alter Rebbe is going to now, or the Rebbe is going to move on from the Middle Rebbe, the second Rebbe. Middle means middle, to the Tzemach Tzedek, the third Chabad Rebbe. Mavor Kavod Kedushas Admor Tzemach Tzedek Shezehu Dafka, and this specifically only applies Shenasis Bechinas Atik. This only applies when Malchus becomes the level of Atik, i.e. when it serves as the fountainhead Le'olam Abriya, for the Olam Abriya. So what it means is this. It means that Malchus of Atzilus, in relation to the things above it, is not called Shechina. But Malchus of Atzilus, as it relates to the lower worlds, it's called Shechina. So, Malchus of Atzilus becomes Keser of Bria. They're the same thing. Malchus of Bria becomes Keser of Yetzira. Make sense so far? You guys already know this stuff. Avo B'Yosef B'Atzilus hi Miyuchedes Imahem. However, when Malchus is still in Atzilus, it is united with them, with the spheres of Atzilus. As I've just mentioned already, Ima spheres of Atzilus, for Lo Shaykh Lashon Shechina, and the term Shechina does not apply to it. Miko Makoim. So, nevertheless, this does not contradict what is said earlier, what is said above, Shakav, that the Kav Nikre B'Shem Shechina. Does not contradict that the Kav is by the name Shechina. He Shechina, Shneamar B'Razal, as Razal says, Ha'inu Malchus Datzilus. Wait a second, not, 1 second. Okay. Va'af gam zois, and so too this. Rach kashna asis bechinas atik lebria davka, and this is in relation to atik of the world of bria, specifically avol b'sharsha, but with its root. Ha'inu. This means in relation to Ein Sof, that Kav is termed Shechina. One of the reasons that the Kav is termed Shechina, the Gaviar Ein Sof, and one of the reasons, as the Rebbe Maharash, the fourth Chabad Rebbe, will explain, Lefi Shekav, one of the reasons why the Kav, Kavanas, is called Shechina. Lefi Shekav, Kavanas, Hamshachaso, Bishvil, Shaliz Labish, Ba'elamois, Neshamas Yisrael. So the Rebbe Marash writes that one of the reasons why the Kav is called Shechina in relation to Ein Sof is that the Kav is drawn down in order to become enclosed in the worlds and in the Neshamos of Yisrael. It is therefore termed Shechina. So even at its outset, Nikrim Shem Shechina. And also, even more, on the higher level, Shechina, B'Sharsho, Shechina with his root, Harishon L'mayla B'Had Tzimtzum. The first source of Shechina precedes the Tzimtzum for the revelation of the divine light. Prior to the Tzimtzum is termed Shechina. So in general, there are 3 levels of godly illumination preceding the Tzimtzum. Oh, whoops. I got ahead of myself. Mavar, Kav Kedushas Admor, Admor Nishmasa Eden. As the Rebbe Rashab explains, Shagiloi Ha'or Kemoshehu Lifnei HaTzimtzum, that even on the higher, hold on, I way got ahead of myself. Maharash Eden. Fine. Maharash writes that one of the reasons the Rashab explains that even on the higher level, the first source of Shechina precedes the Tzimtzum for the revelation of divine light. Prior to the Tzimtzum is termed Shechina. There's 3 levels of godly illumination that precedes the Tzimtzum. A, Etzem Ha'or v'Hishpashtus Ha'or. So A, the essence of divine light, the Etzem Ha'or, and B and C are the 2 subcategories within its diffusion we call the Hishpashtus Ha'or. The Hishpashtus Ha'or base Madrigos, there's 2 levels. Giloi Ha'or, the revelation of light, Kamoi Shehu La'atzmoi Shezehu Makor Ur HaSoivev. And the first of these revelations is the revelation of light insofar as it is revealed for God Himself. This revelation is the source of light, what we call Soivev Kol Almin, which is the light that transcends, i.e. encompasses all the worlds. And the second is the revelation of the light as revealed for himself, that bears a relation to the worlds, and this revelation being the source of the light of Mamali Kohalmin, which is the light that is eminent in all the worlds. The Gilia Orazeh, and the revelation of this light, Nikra B'Shem Shechina, this is called Shechina. Af Shehu Lifnei HaTzimtzum, and although this light precedes the Tzimtzum, it thus cannot possibly serve as a source for the source of the worlds. For which reason it is necessary that there be a Tzimtzum in the first place. The Tzimtzum Arishon Shehu B'chinas Siluk Davka. And the first, for this reason, okay, and moreover, this first Tzimtzum was not a mere diminution of the divine light, but it was an act of withdrawal specifically. Nevertheless, the latter level of illumination is called the Shechina. And we may now appreciate the wording of the Midrash that the essence of the Shechina was originally found in this lower world. This informs us that the revelation of the Shechina was in this world. This is not the Shechina. Is that it informs the revelation of the Shechina in this world is not of the level of Malchus, meaning the Shechina in relation to Atzilus. Hayinu Malchus, okay, Gam Loi Kamoshu Lagavi Ein Seif. Hayinu Hakav. And nor is it the level of the Kav, meaning the Shechina in relation to Ein Sof. Rather, Iker Upanimius HaShechina Haisa. Rather, it was present specifically B'tachtoinin Davka, in this lowly world. Ki ha'or, because the light, shenis labish ba'oilamos, that is enclosed in the worlds, ba b'seder madrega, it descends in an orderly and progressive manner. L'mayla meir b'gila yoser, v'chol mash nemsha mislabsh mistalshel mismat ha'or, and that the loftier world, the greater the degree of illumination, the lower the world with the progressive chain of descent of the worlds, the lesser the illumination. And consequently, this generally is so regarding the illumination found within progressively descended levels. So consequently, with regard to the lower levels of Shechina, namely the illumination clothed within the worlds, this revelation is found to a greater degree in the higher worlds than in the physical world. Mikomakom hayagam az giluyar yeser l'maylo uchmamarzal, not the yamino ubara shemayim, not the shemalu ubara aretz ella hakvana al ha'or shelamaylo me'oilamos ikar shechina. So although it is true that before the sin, the illumination was revealed in this world as well, nevertheless, even then the illumination was revealed to a greater extent in the higher worlds. And with the words of our sages, he extended his right hand and created the heaven, and he extended his left hand and created the earth. So we must before say that the above statement that the essence of the Shekhinah was originally found in this lowly world, it refers to the divine illumination that transcends all the world, and this is what is meant by the essence of Shekhinah, by the Iker Shekhinah. So, next time, we're going to discuss in the Rebbe's, in the Alter Rebbe, excuse me, I'm so swamped tonight. We're going to talk about the sins and the withdrawal of the Shekhinah and the 7 tzaddikim that brought the Shekhinah to this lower world. And that is what the previous Rebbe and his mimer spoke about already. So we've covered that ground. And then we're going to discuss later on about all sevenths are cherished. And the Rebbe will discuss in his mimer, in his discourse, the one that I just got finished with later on, that it's the mission of this generation, because we are the 7th generation and all sevenths are beloved, that we are the ones that will merit to bring down the Shekhinah in this lower world. And it's no surprise that the Rebbe himself is the 7th Rebbe from the first. So what we will learn later on, whether it be this mimer or consequently the Rebbe's other sichas and maimarim, is that it is the leader of the generation that brings it down, but it depends on the whole generation to bring it down fully, and that is the mission of our generation. This is why we do Torah mitzvahs. This is why this is our mission in this world, to make a dwelling place for the Eibusher in this world, and we will touch upon that later on. So, hope I wasn't too fast, but l'chaim, we should merit to see the rebuilding of the Beis Hamikdash take effort miyad mamish, l'chaim.